Let's dive in today to go over seamless payment gateway reconciliation natively in NetSuite. Joining me today, I have myself from the Zone&Co team, and I have Joost and Daan from the Cobase team. I am excited to hand the floor to them to introduce themselves, and we'll jump right into the agenda.
Thank you very much for having us this morning, Ellen. My name is Joost Kevelam at Cobase. I'm the CCO, Chief Commercial Officer, and that means that I'm responsible for everything that has to do with marketing, sales, client implementation, and customer satisfaction. Happy to be here this morning with my colleague, Daan. Daan, could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Good morning, or good afternoon all. My name is Daan Kurvers. I'm the account executive from Cobase, and I'm helping NetSuite clients and NetSuite users with automating their bank connectivity. So automating payments and automating bank statements import or PSP connectivity, of course. That's something I'm going to show you today.
Wonderful. Thank you both so much for joining us today. The Zone&Co team is always happy to work alongside of you. And then I also have our rock star, Anita. She is a product owner from Zone&Co, and she is going to be in the chat answering all those technical questions that are way above my knowledge. So I couldn't be more thankful to have her in attendance. Let's get into the agenda. So we will be learning about Zone&Co today, and then we're also going to be learning about our partner, Cobase. And then we're going to jump into some key benefits of payment gateways, NetSuite, reconciliation, connectivity, and then we will start with why we are here today, a demonstration, a live look of what it's like in NetSuite. We're also going to be going over question and answers, and then we'll do a wrap up where you're able to see a sneak peek at what's to come on our webinar list. So a little bit about Zone&Co. Who is Zone&Co? We are former NetSuite admins, finance lovers. We are former NetSuite consultants, developers, and most importantly, accounting users, the daily users of NetSuite. So what is our mission? Our mission is to enhance the NetSuite experience using suite apps to enhance the experience for accounting and finance teams using NetSuite. And we do so with our applications such as Zone Billing, the robust billing platform that handles complex revenue recognition, Zone Approvals, the ability to build, modify, manage approval workflows natively in NetSuite, Zone Capture, our OCR AP automation tool, Zone Reconcile, which is why we're here today, to go over reconciling bank accounts, payment service providers, credit card accounts, Zone Payments, which is a Stripe integration to reconcile Stripe payments directly in NetSuite, Zone Reporting, which is the only pre-built Power BI reporting solution for NetSuite, Zone Payroll, and also the new Zone Journal Generator. I'm going to hand the floor over to Joost to go over the wonderful Cobase. Oh, you're muted.
Thank you, Ellen. At Cobase, we are all about helping over 3,000 users globally to connect to their banks and their PSPs, also across the globe. Good news that as a testament to the company we've built over the last 8 years, we've announced last week that our company is being acquired by the London-based Alpha Group. We are super excited by this next step. It's a step that will enable us to serve increasingly more customers in the NetSuite ecosystem. It is our mission to make working with multiple banks easier and much more efficient. The diagram that you see right now explains that we help companies migrate from the complex, hard-to-manage situation on the left-hand side to the more efficient, more safe, and more lean situation on the right-hand side. It means that we at Cobase, we connect all your banks and all your PSPs to the Cobase platform and then ensure a single integration towards NetSuite. As said, we help companies to achieve efficient transaction information in NetSuite. This can be complex when you, as a company, need to deal with multiple banks and multiple PSPs. To help our customers navigate this complexity, we have to offer our multi-banking as a service solution, where the platform includes bank connectivity. This is a fully managed bank connectivity. We take care of establishing the connectivity. Then there's the payment hub, and then the customer can enrich the platform with treasury modules such as liquidity forecasting, FX, in-house banking, and cash pooling. Last point I'd like to make here is that our company is licensed by the Dutch Central Bank. For our customers, that means that our company, our IT systems, and our IT processes are as secure as they are for dealing with a Dutch bank. A very quick sneak peek into the high-level solution overview of the app and platform that we offer. The outbound connection point for us, that's the EFT module, where the payment file that's being generated within Oracle NetSuite, including the mandatory data for the specific payment type, is generated. The Cobase platform absorbs the file from this EFT module. The other way around, in delivering the transaction information, Cobase collects transaction information from PSPs and from banks, harmonizes the data set and delivers it into the file cabinet, where it can be picked up either by Oracle NetSuite themselves or by the respective Zone&Co apps. Cobase is responsible for the full integration, the validation, and the transformation of the bank file formats.
Thank you so much, Joost. And now it is time to really see how those applications interact. So with using Zone Reconcile, you're able to reconcile those bank accounts right within NetSuite, and providing the bank connector from Cobase, you're able to give that direct connection. So it's really a seamless integration for your team to be able to reconcile those payment service provider accounts. And we'd love to go a little bit more into, what's behind the curtains of these solutions. We have Zone Reconcile and Cobase, but let's touch on Zone Reconcile and how it works right within inside of those NetSuite walls. Zone Reconcile is a native suite app. It is built for NetSuite. So when we say that, you do not have to leave the NetSuite walls. It is a bundle of records uploaded into your sandbox and or account production, or your production numbers. So once it's uploaded, you'll be able to operate Zone Reconcile directly inside of your NetSuite screens and reconcile those bank accounts. I'd love to hear from Joost on how Cobase works directly inside of NetSuite.
Yeah, so the Cobase platform itself is and can be operated as a standalone platform. However, to achieve the full integration towards NetSuite, we have our Built for NetSuite Suite app. This app can be downloaded from the NetSuite App Store, and this is then a hybrid app. And that's the app that we call the Cobase Bank Connector. And that Bank Connector is effectively facilitating the data exchange between the Cobase platform and Oracle NetSuite.
Thank you so much, Joost. And I'd love to hear about your coverage, because it looks like you just work about anywhere. So we love to hear that with bank connectivity.
Yeah, so close to everywhere. Today we are active in more than 80 countries. Those are the dark blue areas. We have a couple of countries in development. And also the gray countries are open for our business. We simply do not have customers or banks there yet. But if, for example, you are working with a global transaction bank like Citibank in the US, and they would have accounts for you in, to give an example, in Argentina, which is gray here, we are very well open to establish that bank connectivity as well. So we scale the company with the actual needs of our customer.
I love to hear that. I'm working with finance teams every day, and one of the main concerns that they have is connection issues, especially in the US, is getting that connectivity, and just knowing that Cobase is there to offer that connection. Phenomenal. Love it. Now, what is a payment service provider? Let's dig into that. It is a third-party company providing electronic payments like credit cards for businesses. So you see them almost every day. And here we have them listed. We have PayPal, which is, a huge one for us. Stripe, Aiden, WorldPay. So you see these every day when you're in checkout, maybe online or in a local shop. So we definitely use them every day. Let's learn how to reconcile them directly inside of NetSuite. And here are some of the key challenges that some of our clients come across is the payment status unknown. And then also, we see this every day, the volumes. If you're working with 100 transactions a day or even less or even more, handling those volumes is very important for your accounting team. And with Zone Reconcile, you're able to tackle that. And then with the payout status unknown, you're able to tackle the visibility issues that you may be facing. With Zone Reconcile, there's clear visibility throughout the entire process. Joost, how does Cobase help address the key challenges?
To create that level of automation and high volume processing and visibility, you also would need to have the actual data feeds. And that is what we offer. We are offering the data feeds. And there are two key challenges that we address in setting up those data feeds. The first one is the bank requirements and the bank connections. Most banks are using slightly different types of connectivity with slightly different protocols. For PSPs, it's even more a varied landscape of type of connections that they use. Typically, they are API driven. Banks typically are not API driven. This is all quite complex as a company if you need to manage this yourself. Then the next step is, once you have established this connectivity, the next step is all about transferring the files over that connectivity. And that's what we call format conversion. All files that are being exchanged over the connectivity, they again have different content in them. We at Cobase, we make sure that we harmonize the content in those files and deliver it in a harmonized way to NetSuite. So to enable the end customer to achieve very high levels, for example, of auto reconciliation percentages. We harmonize the data for the other apps to be successful.
Love it. Thank you so much. Now, let's look at this process before we jump into the demonstration of what it looks like inside of NetSuite. So over on the left side, you're going to see the customer's paying online. You get the order confirmation into NetSuite, and then the order gets created with the payment service provider reference. It's brought into NetSuite, and you're able to reconcile using those auto matching rules. But I'd love to see the Cobase side and how it works with the connectivity. So Joost, can you go over that for us today?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the diagram where you would see the actual flows. And now my colleague Daan can show how these flows are actually achieved within the platform.
Thank you.
Okay. In there, so I'm going to show you a bit more about how exactly it would work once you are automating payments and automating bank statements import in NetSuite. Now, first of all, where it all starts is send payments via NetSuite. So we will do one-time setup in NetSuite. You can choose if you would like to do payments, not necessarily. You even can just start with bank statements import, for example. One-time setup you have to do in NetSuite. Once it's done, you will just use the normal EFT module within NetSuite. That means that we will provide you with the necessary payment templates. These payment templates can cover your payment types you would like to execute via NetSuite, and it's something we will maintain for you. So that's even a big win for you as well. So once you are making a payment a regular way, in that case, once you have generated the payment, it will be automatically pushed to the Cobase system, and that means that it will be pushed to the file cabinet in NetSuite, and that's even by the way where we have a connection. So once you're downloading our Suite app, there will be in the file cabinet, there will be an extra folder. In this folder, you can view all the payments which are generated, and all these payments are automatically picked up by the Cobase system via the API every single 10 minutes, something like that, and available in Cobase. Once every user can have access to Cobase, so you will have to log in the Cobase platform itself. Of course, you can log in via the website via Cobase. You can click on the login screen. Every user will have their own user ID. That even gives you the possibility, for example, to log in via single sign-on, via Azure Entra ID. There's even a possibility. Now, I'm going to log in with my own details in here. Continue. In this case, there will be a token provided. That means that every user will have their own token provided by the Cobase app or by the hardware token. Every single user will have one token. That means it's not necessary anymore to use all the several different kind of tokens from the banking portals, for example. That can be centralized by using one token. Now, once you have scanned the token, there will be a response code. Afterwards, you will have full access to the Cobase platform. You will have this nice dashboard where you will have in one overview all the current statuses, all the current balances over all banks, countries, entities, and banks, for example. So this even enables you to give you visibility over all cash. If you are working with a lot of different kind of banks, a lot of different kind of countries, different kind of entities, it could be difficult to have this visibility. It could be achieved within the Cobase platform. Now, of course, we have just generated a payment file. You even can see a worklist on this side. So once we are going in this worklist, you can download in there to see the actual worklist. All payments are pushed to the Cobase system. So if the user has the right limiteds, if he has the right whites, then he only will have to get the visibility over the accounts where he has the permission to sign, of course. In this worklist, you easily can download in the payments themselves to see the details of a batch, for example. There's always an auditor available. You can look at the transaction details to look at all the transactions within a batch. And again, you can down drill in the transaction itself to see the details of the transaction. So before you're going to approve a payment, you have all the necessary details available. If you're going back to the work list, you will have different kind of tick boxes where you can click on. You can even select multiple different kind of tick boxes. This is the way how you can sign the payment itself. So in that case, there will be a token provided. Again, you can use the Cobase app, scan the token, leave a remark if you would like, fill in the response code. And here you can see that the signing request is successfully processed, and it means that in that case, the payment is available in the track or trace section on the left side. In the track or trace section, you will have full visibility over the current statuses over all the payments. So once a payment is fully approved in Cobase, it will be directly pushed to the bank system and directly executed there. And all the statuses will be available in Cobase. For example, if we're going to the payments which are sent towards the bank, you can see if the payment is approved by the bank, if it's waiting for approval for one of the other users, if it's rejected by the bank, and you even can see the reason why it's rejected, for example. Next to that, you even can initiate, for example, credit transfers via Cobase, multiple credit transfers, check payments is available, direct debits, but you even can upload payment files, for example, salary payments. And this way, it could be anonymized in the Cobase system, where you even can initiate the payroll payments centrally via Cobase. Now, in this case, the payment is already pushed. Now, again, like I said, in the dashboard itself, you will have the visibility over all cash positions. And on the right side, you can see, for example, that you will have overview about some PSPs, for example, Adyen and PayPal, and even some bank balances. Now, again, for the reporting part, so we're receiving every single day the bank statements from the bank, and you can download in these widgets to see the actual details of the widgets and see the details of the balances. So in this case, you have overview over PayPal account with different kind of currencies and the actual balances. In this case, you can see that the base currency is euro, but you even can maintain it towards a US dollar, for example. It's really based on cash visibility. So here you have a fully overview about all the current balances per bank, per PSP, per country, and per account. Additional to that, you can look in the statements itself. So all the statements are available in Cobase, even from the PSP side. So we are receiving transactions, transforming the transactions to CAM53 format. And in the statements itself in Cobase, you even can download in there to see the actual transactions within the batch. And you can again click through here to see the transaction details which are available in there. Now it's really the bank statement part. The CAM53 formats are even pushed once a day towards the file cabinet. CAM53 is even the format where the Zone Reconcile tool is the best solution to work with. Now, if you're going to NetSuite, how it looks like, so all the bank statements are pushed in the Cobase folder, in the file cabinet, in the bank statements folder. And you can view all the reconciled bank statements in the folder as well. From here off, the Zone Reconcile tool is running a script, is picking up the files, is picking up the statements to do the reconciliation process. And that's something which the Zone team is going to show you by now. So Ellen, back to you.
Thank you so much, Daan and Joost. Anita, are you up and running for the Zone Reconciles portion?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'll be sharing my screen, and at this moment, I expect you can see my NetSuite instance. Is that correct?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Then I will start practically where Dan left, having a folder in the file cabinet full of bank statements. Now, just because we're working in a different instance, my file cabinet is a bit of an empty, but as soon as Cobase's installation is up and running, the unprocessed files folder or the bank statement folder, then displayed previously, is going to be loaded with a lot of statements. In order to automate and move the statements for reconciliation, we're practically using two scripts. The first script is moving the bank statements of the unprocessed or the bank statement folder down to the process folder, and up from the process folder, we take them for the reconciliation. This step is needed just for the purpose of parsing the bank statements and actually connecting them with the correct bank account. Now, when we say the correct bank account, we'll start a bit of a setup. At the moment, the Cobase's installation is up and running. We as well install one additional bundle. When the Zone Reconcile bundle is installed, there are a few new options within the main menu. The very first one is within transactions and then bank reconciliation, where users can simply retrieve the statements that have been processed from the file cabinet. And when we simply say parsing, we do parse them with separate bank account configurations. If we navigate to Setup, Bank Reconciliation Setup, then there are a few menu options here as well. When we talk about the bank account configurations, we simply set up a separate bank account configuration per each type of per each bank account, meaning we expect that into your chart of accounts there will be separate bank GL accounts for each operating bank, but as well for the PSP reconciliation. So practically meaning if that is a PayPal, if you're having a PayPal account or an Amazon and also holding multiple currencies, we would expect that the chart of account hosts different GL accounts. When the bank account configurations are set, we are ready to auto process the bank statements. The custom matching rules, we'll show you a bit later within the reconciliation, are practically used to automate the posting of transactions that are repetitive. A good example are the bank charges and the payouts. We'll show you the separate lines afterwards. When considering the payment different reasons, they are used in case when users would like to track charge fees per item. This is something that we will show a little bit later within the reconciliation as well. Now, when our scripts are scheduled and the bank statements are auto-processed, users would be able to see them under the statement to process list. This is the list that is already open in this tab over here. As you can notice, we have multiple statements already listed, and they're all connected to a particular bank account. From here, we can edit the bank statements, and then a bank statement will be generated. Please note that the bank statement list is hosting all the statements that have been previously imported. We can filter them per bank account, sort them according to date, and view the transactions that are still pending to be reconciled. And those are the transactions located here at the very end, named as remaining lines. Now, the color is also indicating the status of reconciliation, meaning that the statements that are listed with the white color has been fully reconciled, and the ones that do hold the orange color are still up to be reconciled, and they do hold some remaining lines that need our attention. Let's go back to our bank statement for a moment. The bank statement, as it is split into two different sections. The first one is practically the header that holds some crucial information about the bank statement setup, and afterwards underneath listed are the statement movement or the settlement file movement. So for a moment, we'll start with the header. At the very beginning, we do provide a name field for our bank statement, meaning that an end user can rename it or just simply leave it as it is. The bank account number is practically the bank account against which all these payments are going to be posted against. And the bank subsidiary is practically indicating the subsidiary that we are now working in. The currency is indicating the currency of the bank statement, so the currency upon which the payments are received. And of course, the transactions from and to simply indicates the date range of the imported transactions. The bank start balance is always uploaded and I would simply say typed manually for each very first bank statement. And the reason for this is because we do not hold history data. Once an end user stores the correct bank balance, afterwards the bank start balance is inherited from each previous uploaded statement. Practically the system is taking into consideration the end balance and stores it as a start balance for the next statement. The total debit and credit transaction practically indicates all the transactions that have been uploaded. The enter statement balance is also important just because it holds a verification that all our statement lines are imported as expected, meaning if our banking balance is equal to the enter statement balance, that would mean that all our statements are uploaded. If not, we should review our setup. The difference field is also important just because it is a difference between the bank balance of NetSuite, the enter statement balance, and the bank-end balance. This practically means that we perform an additional check whether the balances of our general ledger are equal to our bank statement. Created by is practically the name of the user that created the statement, and the help center always holds a direct link towards the supported scenarios of open transactions. And underneath, we simply also have a few limitations that we do state them. Going back to these scenarios, there are a few listed. Now it just really depends on how an end user identifies themselves. So as an example, what we do support is the reconciliation of open, as we said within the knowledge base link, but also we support the reconciliation of closed transactions. What's the difference? A customer invoice is practically an open transaction, and the expectation from the bank statement is that the payment is created. This is indeed the case if we go ahead and simply save the bank statement. Unless saved, we can proceed with the reconciliation. What is also important to mention at this moment is that we can match transactions based on particular description. And this is always the preferred option. Another matching preferences are matching against the counterparty and matching upon amount. But when considering the PSP reconciliation, especially when high volumes are handled, then reconciling and matching transactions against a unique identifier is the best approach. Practically meaning, if the settlement report holds an identifier, as in this moment is INV, and a particular character number a long way, it is expected that this identifier is as well stored onto a customer invoice or a particular payment stored within NetSuite. Meaning that if we pass the bank statement value under the safe search of NetSuite, NetSuite is able to provide us a direct link towards the invoice. And this is what we call a one-to-one match. When considering the open transactions, we mentioned that the payment will be created upon saving the bank statement, but what actually happens when we are treating closed transactions? It could be the case that an end user, via an integration, is loading customer payments. It can be as well, cash sales are also a good example when talking about closed transactions, meaning that we are still able to match the closed transactions, but please note at that moment we never create a duplicate transaction, but simply link the payment and confirm it by the statement. So the statement here kind of acts of a second source of truth, meaning that if the cash sale has been created via the integration a day earlier than the settlement report has been received, then we would automatically update the date of the cash sale. Even more, if a cash sale or a closed transaction as a payment is already generated using the undeposited funds, meaning it has been posted to the undeposited funds as a NetSuite native GL account, then we can update the account automatically and post them to the actual bank account according to the statement. As well, talking a little bit briefly of the charges, what we can do is first we can sum them in simply one line. If the settlement report practically holds one column, and this column holds all the fees that has been occurred during the shipment of our items, we could summarize them in one summary line, and they can be of a different kind. As an example, a handling fee, a shipping fee, or a total commission fee. Just because these kind of transactions are usually repetitive, we do create custom matching rules to practically automate their posting. Previously, we did as well talk a little bit about the payment different reasons. They were located under setup, bank reconciliation, and setup of payment different reasons. And this practically allows us, I will try to now open a pop-up of a customer invoice as an example. Users can track the bank charges per order, meaning that if there is a difference between the amount on the statement and our invoice, in that case, we could use the payment different reasons just to simply automate the posting of the small difference. And the small difference can either be roundings, can be bank charges. You simply name it according to your example. And also, what is very important to lastly mention, we can automatically add one additional total row, which is row number 12 in our case. And this line is practically summarizing the entire movement of our bank statement, and it is posting it to a clearing account. The reason for this clearing account is to simply automate the posting and reconcile this balance against the operating account. Just because this amount that we eventually see at the very end of a PSP statement is the exact same amount that we would see as an incoming one to our operating account. We simply use the clearing account to offset the balance that is going to be posted on the operating bank account as well. If we go ahead and simply save the statement, our transactions are going to be created. An indication of a created transaction is simply a link under the payment number column. While the statement is saving, I will use this time to simply show the dashboard of NetSuite one more time, and simply to stress out the advantage of using Cobase with our application. So practically, when there's an integration existing with Cobase and the bank statements are loaded into the reconciliation portlet automatically, then an end user will have a small dashboard that would indicate the exact start balance, the end balance, and the reconciled balance, regardless of the fact whether a statement is reconciled or not. So simply, we fully eliminate the need of an end user navigating to their bank, checking their balances, but they will be listed directly in NetSuite with the use of this small dashboard.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Anita.
Saving the statement will simply take a while, just because we're also taking into consideration NetSuite's time of creating the transactions. But if that is convenient, I will stop here.
Yes, that is wonderful. I will go ahead and start sharing my screen again. Okay, so it looks like we don't have too many questions from our attendees today, but that's not a problem. You know, we're happy to showcase this solution for you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again, if it will work for me. My computer's acting like it's Friday. All right, so we have gone over the demonstrations today, which thank you so much to Anita and Daan for going over that. You guys are rock stars to showcase this for us. But let's go over some highlights of what this looked like and, you know, where are those key benefits. So with Zone Reconcile, you are offered a second source of truth. You're able to support different scenarios with the reconciliation process, from creating or matching to payments, sales orders, cash sales, and cash refunds. And we also handle high volumes. I can't stress this enough. When people come to us, it is often because they need to handle those high volumes and get rid of that manual keying for their accounting team. With Zone Reconcile, we're able to tackle those needs. And for the Cobase side, I'd love to hand it over to Joost to go over how he helps with those key challenges as well.
Yeah, so the key help we offer is for connecting the banks and the PSPs to NetSuite as to achieve full visibility on your account balances and the underlying transactions. Secondly, we create an environment in which payments can be approved, where data can be found, so that co-workers do no longer need to work in multiple individual banking portals. So we take away the different individual portals, we take away the different tokens. It's all managed between Cobase and NetSuite and Zone&Co. The last point I'd like to highlight is that by using the Cobase solution, you improve audit and compliance strength simply because everything is integrated in one system. You have less manual handovers between different systems, between different platforms, and therefore less gaps in your payment audit trails.
I love it. Thank you so much, Joost. And thank you to everyone for attending. A couple of questions that we have is one, will the payments be applied and posted to the specific invoices in NetSuite? Anita, would you be able to help me with that one?
Yes, sure. So the moment we match an invoice, a payment is automatically created by the statement itself, and it is attached to the related records tab of the invoice itself. Even more, if the invoice is in a foreign currency, then a part of the payment, NetSuite as well generates an additional document named currency revaluation to simply automatically store the exchange rate difference.
Thank you. And another question we have, is this capable of sending payment advice to vendors? Daan?
The payment advices would not be sent out of the Cobase platform.
Okay. A few other questions that, I just know on common occurrences from our conversations with finance teams is, are we able to auto match to open bills? And the answer is yes. We're also able to support multiple file formats. So if you do have any additional questions, I'm sorry, Joost, I see you're raising your hand.
Yeah, I see two more questions I'd like to address here because these questions have come up a lot. The one is about currency limitations. On the Cobase end, there are no currency limitations. We are supporting over 200 currencies, so the solution can be deployed globally across currencies within or in excess of 200 currencies supported. So my guess is that all your currencies would be supported. The second question that I see is, how about PSPs that are delivering the data in CSV? CSV format, well, that is exactly what we solve for the customer at Cobase. We would transform this flat data CSV file in a COMT53 file, which is the typical file format that would be consumed by NetSuite.
Thank you so much. Okay, everyone, it wraps us up for today's demonstration. And here is a sneak peek of what's to come. Join us for the three-way matching of zone capture, October 26th at 11 a.m. Central Time. Grab that QR code and it will take you to the registration page. We are excited to see you there. And if anyone has any questions, please reach out to zoneandco.com or cobase.com. I put the Zone&Co Suite Apps email here. And then I also put Daan and Joost's email for Cobase. That way, if you have questions on connectivity or their other solutions, they are happy to take those questions. We love working with Cobase, and I'd like to thank the team for joining today. And also thank you, Anita, for jumping into the demonstration. And Daan.
Thank you very much, Ellen. Thank you, Anita.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day and weekend ahead.